Good morning, and thank you for joining us today to learn more about the Rural Infrastructure Fund, also known as RIF. I'm Kristen Bashirs, the Program Manager for the RIF Grant Program within the Bureau of Small Cities and Rural Communities at Florida Commerce. Florida Commerce's Rural Infrastructure Fund is a valuable economic development, workforce, and business development tool for the small cities and rural communities. Right now, funding in the amount of $20 million is available for projects that encourage job creation, capital investment, and the strengthening and diversification of Florida's rural economies. Consider applying for funding to support high-quality projects that add value for job creation and related prospects for opportunities for business growth. Thank you all again for taking the time to join us today. We hope that today's informational webinar will benefit your project development efforts, and we look forward to supporting projects that will have positive long-term impacts on your residents, businesses, and local economy. Today in our presentation, we will begin with an overview of the RIF program and the fiscal year 24-25 RIF appropriations. We'll then talk through other details of the RIF program and application process, such as grant categories, program application review factors, fiscal year 24-25 application cycle information, and application development tips. We'll save questions and answers till the end of the presentation, but feel free to submit your questions in the chat feature at any time during the presentation. The Rural Infrastructure Fund program is a state-funded program administered by Florida Commerce's Bureau of Small Cities and Rural Communities. The RIF program is one of Florida Commerce's economic development, workforce, and business development tools that provides funding assistance for the planning, preparing, and financing of infrastructure projects in rural communities, which will encourage job creation, capital investment, and strengthening and diversification of rural economies. It is intended to facilitate access to rural communities of other state and federal infrastructure funding programs, such as those listed on the slide. This program is governed by Section 288.0655 Florida statutes. The 2024 legislature appropriated a total of $20 million for the RIF program. There is $15 million available in RIF statewide funding. Eligible applicants include units of local government within an area designated as a rural area of opportunity, or a rural county or community as defined by Section 288.0656 Florida statutes. A list of eligible local governments is included in the fiscal year 24-25 RIF program guidelines. There is $5 million available for the Florida Panhandle specific appropriation. Eligible counties include Calhoun, Gadsden, Holmes, Jackson, Liberty, and Washington counties, and all municipalities within prospective county boundaries. There are 3 grant categories under which an entity can apply for RIF funding. The first is the Total Participation Grant, which is for infrastructure construction projects. These awards are intended to facilitate and maximize use of state, federal, local, and private resources. The maximum award amount is 75% of the total infrastructure project cost for projects located in a rural community, or 100% of the total infrastructure project cost for projects located in a rural community within fiscally constrained county or a rural area of opportunity. If the project application is subject to the 75% maximum award amount, the other project funding sources must be identified in the application and secured prior to executing the RIF grant agreement. The application should clearly demonstrate the need of the infrastructure project in attracting job creation and capital investment. While a participating party or job creator is no longer required, projects that include a participating party should provide participating party documentation to strengthen application. If there is no participating party, The strongest applications will provide other documentation that ties the infrastructure project to specific job creation and capital investment. Some examples might be a local or regional economic development plan that identifies specific infrastructure needs for attracting particular industries, or documentation from local or regional economic development professionals and organizations of failed businesses or industry recruitment based on lack of proper infrastructure. Eligible uses of funds under the total project participation category include improvements to public infrastructure for industrial or commercial sites, and improvement to inadequate infrastructure that has resulted in regulatory action. Authorized infrastructure may include the following public-private partnership facilities: stormwater systems, telecommunication facilities, excluding broadband, roads or other remedies to transportation impediments, nature-based tourism facilities, and other physical requirements to facilitate economic development activities in the community. The next grant category is project planning and preparation grants. This category is appropriate for planning projects that do not include construction activities. The maximum award amount is $300,000 with no match requirements. Funds awarded under the project planning and preparation grant category may be used for infrastructure feasibility studies, design and engineering activities, or other infrastructure planning and preparation activities. Grants awarded under this category may be used in conjunction with total participation grants. The third grant category is the pre-clearance review grants. These grants enable rural communities to access the resources available under the expedited permitting pre-clearance review process outlined in section 403.973, subsection 17, Florida statutes. As shown in the table provided, projects located outside Arroyo may be awarded up to $75,000 with a 50% local match requirement. Projects located within Arroyo or within a catalyst site, as defined in section 288.0656 Florida statutes, may be awarded to $300,000 with no match requirement. Funds awarded under this category may be used for surveys, feasibility studies, and other activities related to the identification and pre-clearance review of land that is suitable for pre-clearance review. Evaluation of all applications, no matter the grant category, will include, but may not be limited to, evaluation of the economic benefit of the project and its long-term viability, project's potential for enhanced job creation or capital investment, demonstration and level of public and private commitment. Additionally, grant administrative and consultant expenses should be minimized to the extent possible. The application cycle opened August 1st, 2024, and will close on September 16th, 2024. Applications may be submitted electronically or mailed to Florida Commerce. Both mailed and/or electronic applications must be received by 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on September 16th, 2024. Application submission requirements and instructions, program guidelines, and other relevant information is available on our website, www.floridajobs.org/RIF. Now we'll go over some application development tips. Part one is the applicant profile. This section includes contact information for the local government applicant, including the applicant project contact. This contact should be the person that can respond to specific questions regarding the application or the proposed project. Next is part two, the project description and timeline. The project description should begin with a clear statement of what RIF funds will be used for. For example, the project proposes to use RIF funding to provide wastewater services to the project XYZ site, including improvements to the wastewater treatment plant and an extension of wastewater lines to the site. Application instructions provide specific information that should be included in the project description. Part 3 is the economic narrative. This section should provide concise yet comprehensive information that will demonstrate the economic benefit and long-term viability of the project. Applicants should focus on demonstrating and documenting the need for the infrastructure and attracting business or industry that will create jobs and increase capital investment. Part 4 is the project budget. For this section, be sure to include the total infrastructure project cost, not just the portions requested to be funded with RIF funds. Double check the math and provide clear description of how project costs were estimated. Part 5 is sources and uses of non-RIF funds. List the sources of funds for all costs listed in the other funding source column of the project budget. Part 6 is the participating party information section. As mentioned previously, a participating party is no longer a requirement for total project participation grants, but having a participating party provides demonstration of direct economic benefit and specific job creation. And lastly is Part 7, application authorization. Applications must be signed by the chief elected official or delegated representative. Applications signed by a representative other than the chief elected official must include a letter of delegation signed by the chief elected official. This concludes our presentation. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat feature. We'll now take a minute to allow you to submit any questions, and we'll gather any that were submitted during the presentation. We'll be back to answer your questions in just a moment. Good morning. To answer your question, will we get a copy of the slides? Yes, the slides will be available on our website for 2 business days at the www.floridajobs.org/RIF. That's 2 business days they'll be there. The next question is, can the participating party initiate the grant request in collaboration with the county, or should the application be initiated by the county? The application needs to be initiated by the local government or the county. The grant will be awarded to the county or local government. What is the deadline date? Are there extensions? Our deadline is 5 o'clock, September the 16th. September 16th at 5 o'clock. There are no extensions. Then I have a question. What was the second type of allowed application after the infrastructure improvements? I believe that was the project planning and participation grants, which is basically your planning grants. Any other questions? Please type it in the chat box. Thank you for participating in the RIF Application Webinar. If you have any further questions or if you'd like to discuss specific projects, ideas, or questions, you may contact us at the information listed on this slide. Thank you.